Hey there, y'all. This is Jack, and today we are discussing Record of Ragnarok, the strongest. We are doing a tier list today, and I'm very hyped for that. But before we get into it, consider subscribing to my channel. I greatly appreciate it. I'm so close to 50 subscribers, so if you're checking out this video and you're interested in Ragnarok content like this, please consider subscribing. I'd greatly appreciate it. All right, let's just dive right on into this, shall we? All right, first one, Thor. Okay, Thor is an interesting one. Thor is a very, very strong guy, as we all know, with Thor's hammer when he gets serious, especially when his hammer wakes up, and then it becomes even more and more powerful. I gotta say, well, Thor, very, very good, but compared to other top tiers, yeah, Thor is strong, but he's not incredibly fast. But he does have the power to back up his attack, so we're gonna put him up in B tier for now. And then Lu Bu next. All right, I mean, yeah, Lu Bu is very strong, especially with Sky Eater. Very, very tough guy, and I am not taking into consideration the spin-off mangas because I believe the content that we got in Ragnarok itself should speak for itself, and it does. Lu Bu is very, very strong. I mean, a human that split the sky apart, yeah, pretty dang powerful, I gotta say. But compared to Thor, he was just unable to beat Thor. But he did land a solid first strike on the god, so gotta give it to Lu Bu on there. Zeus, I mean, come on. Do I really need to say it? I mean, the fist that surpasses time, divine axe, his final form Adamus. Yeah, Zeus is the quintessential strongest god that we've seen in Ragnarok so far. Will we see any other ones stronger than him? I honestly don't know. Odin's probably the best shot, but we'll see in the future. Zeus, incredibly powerful. And we got Adam, of course, the strongest human, I would say. All right. Adam, again, he does everything that Zeus could do, but better. It's essentially better with the eyes of the Lord or divine reflection in the official dub. Yeah, Adam, everything he could, Zeus does, Adam does better. He's got the knuckle dusters, and he could just, yeah, throw everything at Zeus and just throw it back harder. But Zeus is just far more durable, and he just outlasts Adam. And yeah, Adam, we know how that ended, but again, Adam does incredibly well. Now Poseidon, top tier, incredibly fast. And I am still in the mindset that we've never seen Poseidon at 100%, but what we've seen is what we're going to judge. So Poseidon right now is at the top of A so far. Well, I say so far, but no, Kojiro comes in right in front of him. Kojiro, again, with that katana he uses against Poseidon, great reflexes, but Poseidon just completely blitzes him over and over until Kojiro's sword breaks from Poseidon's when he breaks it with his trident, and Kojiro gets the weapons, and they become two thanks to Hearst's ability, and he dual wield attacks Poseidon. Poseidon does overcome it until Kojiro just finally opens up his thousand technique and just completely sees every move Poseidon can make. And before Poseidon could even really do anything, it was too late. Kojiro slices down Poseidon. Again, great stuff there. All right, next is Hercules. Hercules, again, a good one. So I will actually, might be controversial, but I'm putting him right in front of Lu Bu. Why? And well, in front of Lu Bu and Thor. Why, you may ask? Well, because Thor has quite a few abilities. The ones that we've seen, I'm not gonna take into account ones that we didn't see, because again, those are headcanon. With what we've seen, Hercules is very strong and actually a pretty dang intelligent fighter. He's survived several wounds, and he's very durable. And I believe if Thor attacked him with Thor's hammer, yeah, Hercules is gonna survive it, especially with Cerberus, his Cerberus form. Again, very tough and durable. Of course, blade attacks could still cut through him, but again, he does have amazing feats by destroying divine weapons. Jack does come throws at him, but again, there has to be an emphasis on impressive, because again, Jack does turn rubble into divine weapons, but again, they are still just rubble. They're just like rubble that can hurt a god. So yeah, they're still broken and everything. And then when Jack throws actual knives and they're able to hurt Hercules, Hercules grabs them and just crushes them. That's actually a pretty impressive feat. And then of course Hercules tanking the Big Ben tower falling on him, and Hercules coming out of that, again, very impressive, very durable, and I do believe Hercules would just outpower Thor and just overcome him essentially. But Hercules does have that one downside where he uses his powers, his labors, and the marks just crawls all over his body to to start consuming more and more of him. but I do believe that Hercules would get the job done and take down Thor. Okay, Jack the Ripper. All right, Jack. I like Jack, but compared to the okay, not including London, I will. Uh, at the end of this video, I will include London, so he will be moving up a bit. But right now, with no London, yeah, Jack is at C. Jack is very intelligent, very smart, but these guys, all these fighters are just insanely powerful without, Yeah, Jack, he's good, but he'll put up a good fight, but he ain't winning against Lu Bu, especially because Lu Bu is just so much more powerful, and he would just strike Jack incredibly down fast. Yeah, so Jack, very, very good. He set up traps. He'll probably mess up Lu Bu, but Lu Bu will win. All right, next, Shiva. Shiva, I like Shiva a lot, especially the only problem Shiva really has is he will let his opponents do what they can, because he wants to see what they're capable of. And also, it does take him a bit while to to charge up his dance and then to actually start dancing. And then when he's covered in flame, he does flame damage. But then when he goes into his ultimate where he starts pumping his heart faster with his hands, he's much more powerful to where even you attack him, you get flame damage on your own self. So again, Shiva's very good, but again the downside to that is it does hurt him too, and it could kill him. And again, Shiva's personality. Again, this is all in character. In character, all right. All this is in character. If we're going, controller, someone else is controlling them, the tier list would be a bit different. But this is all within character, all right. So yeah, Shiva. I do believe he would take on Hercules, and I do believe Shiva would win. The only thing that you could say, well, Hercules would probably try to hit Shiva as hard as he can. And Shiva's the type of guy that'll be like, all right, come at me, and I'll come at you with my strongest, as we saw with Raiden trying, or he does sumo, and Shiva takes it head on. And at the end, Shiva takes it head on and bests Raiden. Again, very, very good stuff there, but Shiva is just on a whole other level for sure, I gotta say. All right, now we got Raiden. I feel bad for Raiden. I like Raiden a lot, but he is right behind Lu Bu. Raiden just has his sumo, which is very, very good. And if he grabs like Lu Bu might be done for. But again, Lu Bu has his weapon. He has his halberd, his Chinese halberd. And yes, Raiden does have that feat of breaking the sound barrier with his attack. But again, it only gets you so far. Lu Bu didn't only just block Thor's attack, but repelled it. And when Thor made a stronger attack with his when he awakened his hammer, Lu Bu's legs did break, but he was able, for the most part, his arms were fine, and he able to tank the attack, except for his legs obviously breaking. But Lu Bu was still able to continue fighting with on red hair. But again, yeah, with the weapon, I do believe that makes a difference. If Lu Bu, Thor, Hercules didn't have their weapons, yeah, Raiden could more than likely take them on. But as it stands, they have their weapons, and well, yeah, Raiden's not gonna be doing so hot. Zero, I like Zero, but come on, Zero. Misery Cleaver is pretty good, but his personality and he just loses himself. He really, really does. He just he kind of flips out when things aren't going his way, and he just essentially just berserks out. And yeah, his personality is really his downfall. He has a pretty good power, and going up against the opponent Buddha, it was just a terrible matchup for him because again, an immature adolescence going up against the Buddha. Yeah, it ain't going well, and I do believe Jack would easily be able to take advantage of Zero's anger and outmaneuver him and just wound him enough to where Zero would just be eventually just taken out. So yeah, no London. Jack does beat Zero. All right, Hajun is an interesting one, but he's going right in front of Lu Bu and right behind. Um, Hold on a sec. Do I want to put him in front of? No, I actually take that back. He'll be right behind Lu Bu. Not in front of Lu Bu, behind Lu Bu. Why? Because again, the Hajun is very, very powerful, and he's nimble enough to outplay the Buddha, but Hajun's attacks are very choreographed, where I do believe Lu Bu would be able to see it coming, repel, and attack. And Hajun has very strong attacks like his drill, where he's able to drill right through the Buddha's shield. Again, very, very good, but again, very choreographed. And I honestly do see Lu Bu being able to dodge it and strike. Again, Lu Bu, as I said, is very, very strong. And the reason I do believe he was able to get the best on Buddha is because Buddha's abilities, his enlightened ability is very good, but he himself, without it, he's not that great of a fighter, as we saw him against Hajun. And the only reason Buddha was able to beat Hajun is because Hajun was starting to get a little afraid, and Buddha was able to see it and predict his movement. So yeah, Hajun is strong, but I think when he goes up against other stronger opponents that are actually very, very capable, yeah, I don't think Hajun stands much of a chance. Well, he does, but they'd eventually beat him. Like Shiva would just completely outmaneuver him and beat him. Again, Shiva does get hit by Raiden, even when Shiva's on the zone, and Raiden's able to hit him with his finger. Even though it's just a graze, he still hits him. But again, I think Hajun again very choreographed. I do believe Shiva, Hercules, Lu Bu, and Thor would be able to see it coming and just take down Hajun. All right, next up, the Buddha. Buddha right now is right behind Poseidon. Again, very, very good. But Poseidon, honestly, from the speed feats alone that we've seen of Poseidon, he would just completely overpower Buddha. Buddha could probably hold him off for a while, but Poseidon is just far too fast and strong, and that Medusa 40-day flood where he just completely blitzes and just makes a dome of stuff, just overwhelming his opponent. Yeah, Kojiro, remember, Kojiro is a better version of Buddha. Buddha does have the better ability, but Kojiro, when I say better version, he's like a better fighter. Buddha has the better ability, but Kojiro is the better fighter, and if you put them two against each other, I do believe Kojiro would overcome and defeat the Buddha, while Poseidon, again, Poseidon is just a whole other level of god that's just completely will just overpower Buddha. Buddha shields could tank it, yes, but the other weapons, we've seen Poseidon break a divine weapon. We've seen him break Kojiro's, and compared to other Buddha's weapons, I mean, it's possible Poseidon would be able to do the same thing. Again, that's headcanon, so I'm just going with Poseidon would just completely overwhelm Buddha. Buddha would just see his death coming, and it'd be very unfortunate. 'Cause I like Buddha, but compared to Poseidon, yeah, just making a dome of after images would just be far too much, especially with Hajun's, again, his attacks being very choreographed and Buddha just completely being hit by them. So yeah. Now Hades is an interesting one. Controversial take, but yeah, I'm putting him in front of I Buddha. He's right behind Poseidon. I think yeah, Poseidon, I do believe he's just from what we've seen, Poseidon's just far faster than Hades, and Hades, I don't think Hades will be able to keep up. But I will say that from what we've seen, Hades has an incredibly powerful attack. Desmos, when he mixes his blood with his weapon. So essentially, if you hurt him, he can spill his blood right on his weapon. His weapon gets stronger, and it's able to just completely break divine weapons, as we saw him with Chunyun that has an or sorry, Qin Shi Huang, not Chunyun. I don't know why I have her on the mind, but Qin Shi Huang, where he has a divine reflection ability where it just doesn't stop, but it reflects and hits you back with your own force. And Hades was able to not just go through that, but break it and just completely shatter Qin Shi Huang's left arm and sever it. So yeah, if he hits Buddha's weapons head on, I do believe that he would be able to break Buddha's weapons. It just comes down to, well, can Buddha overcome Hades? And I honestly don't think so. Buddha would be able to see all his attacks coming, but they'll only get you so far till Desmos eventually just breaks Buddha's weapon. All right, next, Qin Shi Huang. I mean, this is an interesting one. I honestly could see Buddha just, taking on Qin Shi Huang and it being very, very close. It's just Qin Shi Huang being able to defeat Hades is just a feat. I just believe it would put him above Buddha. Again, because also Buddha has the Qin Shi Huang has the technique to where he could see your divine weapon, your weapon's stars, and he could blow a bubble that will weaken your weapon. Not just the person itself when he shoots his crossbow, the air bubble at his opponents, hits his opponents, and they make them just stagger a bit. He could also do that to the weapons and be able to more than likely weaken Buddha's weapon. Because remember, Buddha's weapon is a divine weapon that's very much alive. Even with Nirvana, it's also that weapon's also very much alive. So either version, yeah, I think Qin Shi Huang would be able to just weaken the weapon to where he's able to overcome it. And again, Qin Shi Huang with Chi Yu, his versatility in weapons and martial arts is just very good compared to Buddha. So I do believe he would overcome the Buddha and just beat him. And also, Qin Shi Huang does have that feat of fighting for 4 days straight against Chunyo. I'm not a fan of that personally, but most of that is just him deflecting whatever Buddha attacks with him. Even with that scythe weapon he has, I do believe that would probably give Qin Shi Huang a bit of trouble. But besides that, anything else Buddha has, honestly wouldn't. All right, next Beelzebub. Oh my, I can't believe I'm doing this, but right in front of Buddha. Now you might be asking, wait, why? Okay, two reasons. Beelzebub is incredibly smart. He is able to use his vibration abilities to cut through divine weapons, as we saw with Tesla's armor. He was able to cut through it and slash Tesla, and also Chaos. That attack where it's just an omnidirectional attack that attacks in like an attack that explodes in all directions. So Buddha tried blocking it, he will still get hit. The only reason Tesla was able to survive that attack was because he had to use a Tesla coil to get away from it, but he still got severely damaged. And I'd hate to see what would happen to anyone below that got hit by that. Again, Beelzebub is extremely intelligent. He would overcome Shiva's ability, Hercules' intelligence, and Thor's extremely durability, strength. So yeah, Beelzebub is on a whole other level and just very powerful. All right, next Tesla. I love Tesla, but I'm gonna put him right in front of Shiva. Now you might be asking, wait, in front of Shiva? Yes, because again, Shiva, like everyone below Shiva, are very powerful, but I do believe Shiva could take them. And what makes Tesla stand out above the rest is that Tesla, when he has a plan, he goes for it. Like when he sets up his cage, his electric cage, where we had that awesome cage match, and he fights. Yeah, like again, he has a massive advantage there, where he's able to teleport, but he's only able to do that really 2 times 3. But he will die if he uses that, and he does massive damage. And the only reason Beelzebub was able to survive that, well, in the very last second, he was able to put up a shield, but he still received massive damage. And Beelzebub is very intelligent, and he still almost got killed by Tesla. And when Tesla's just moving around, he could do anything in that cage and just completely. I honestly do believe that, yeah, Shiva would not be able to hit him, and he'd be able to outlast Shiva, and Shiva would just uh, wear himself out. The only problem with Tesla, though, is he is that kind of character. I'd be like, all right, I want to see what you could do. Show me, because he wants to advance science. So he would have, yeah, a hard time, but I do believe he would overcome all these characters just through his sheer intelligence and will. Because yeah, he's very smart dude. Now Apollo is a very interesting one, but again, we're going within character, so he's right behind. Oops, sorry, right behind Hades. Again, another maybe controversial. I'm not sure about that, but the reason is because again, we're going as if they're going to the tournament. If yeah, if he's going in, into the tournament, he's obviously going to have his phobias gloves and just be able to come in and close in. And I do believe he'd be able to essentially almost do what Tesla did, but better, where he'd just be boxing at Beelzebub and being able to, outmaneuver Beelzebub's attacks and just start landing massive hits on him. The only thing Beelzebub would be able to do that really hurt him would be his chaos attack, but besides that, nothing else really. Because Beelzebub obviously can't span his chaos attack because it obviously kill him, and Lilith's quote unquote curse would stop him. So yeah, Tesla also again would try to come in at Tesla, and I would say Buddha would try to be coming in at him, but again, Apollo would just completely outmaneuver them. And with these characters, I could see Apollo being able to set up his bow of Artemis to essentially just take these guys down. But when it comes to the guys above, I don't see them giving Apollo the opportunity to use the bow. With the gloves, it'd be very close. But again, Hades' power is just on a whole other level, where he'll just be able to damage Apollo. And again, you might say, well, Apollo be able to avoid. Well, that'll only get you so far with Hades. Hades' Desmos is just insanely powerful, and Hades does just doesn't fight with just his Desmos. He'll, as you saw with Qin Shi Huang, he'll use it to distract Qin Shi Huang and use his legs to kick Qin Shi Huang. So again, yeah, very good. But Hades just has skill and power behind him. Apollo, I would say up close to close, a better fighter. But if he does manage to get his bow set up, I do think he'd be doing very well against Hades and Qin Shi Huang. But when it comes to Kojiro and Poseidon, no. They'd easily be able to just get out of the way and just completely take down Apollo. So yeah, going into the match with the gloves, of Phobius gloves, yeah, it'd be a hard fight between Qin Shi Huang and Hades, but I do see them winning up until, Apollo does get the bow, then it'd get interesting. But the only thing I can say with Qin Shi Huang, again, if again Qin Shi Huang, he's able to deflect attacks, so I don't see why he wouldn't be able to deflect an arrow. And if he does, yeah, like, just as we saw with Leonidas, that'd be very devastating. And Qin Shi Huang, again, he's the kind of guy that would take you on. And if he does take on Apollo, he would take him head on. And Qin Shi Huang, again, just like with Hades, he'd fire his crossbow at air bubble, weaken Apollo, and just slice down Apollo. And again, very similar to Hades. I do believe Hades' Desmos would cut right through Apollo, as Apollo would make himself an arrow and just shoot right down. Because again, Desmos' whole thing is to just cut straight through even the mightiest defenses. So yeah, very good. But Apollo, honestly, between Apollo, Hades, and Qin Shi Huang, I honestly could see anyone really, mixing them around. And I could honestly be like, I could see why you would do that. I honestly could. All right. Now with Leonidas. I love Leonidas, but my boy Leonidas, he's right top of B tier. Leonidas has great weapons, and he has a great feat of being the only human to not use a divine weapon to hurt a god. Point blank. I guess a top tier god, because again, Qin Shi Huang did with Chi Yu and Ares. But top tier gods such as in the tournament, uh, Leonidas just headbutts Apollo, makes him bleed out his nose and just bash him with his weapon. And not to mention, yeah, Leonidas having that feat of deflecting a light blast. So yeah, he would easily be able to deflect anything Tesla throws at him. But with Buddha, yeah, I think Buddha would just be able to overcome him and just play into it, just take advantage of Leonidas' anger. And Leonidas is, again, very powerful. I honestly could see him just thrashing anyone below him, honestly. But when it comes to people above him, that's not so much. Buddha, I honestly do see Buddha just taking him on, and Leonidas not really being able to do much to him. Maybe get him in a trap, but again, I think Buddha will be able to get out of it. Beelzebub will just outsmart Leonidas. Again, Apollo, we saw how that went. Hades, again, would just outpower him. Qin Shi Huang would just outskill him. And Kojiro and Poseidon would outskill slash outpower him. So yeah, very, very interesting. But yeah, that's my tier list here. Let me know what you guys think about it, because I honestly, I'd be very curious to hear what y'all have to say, and I'd definitely can't wait to for you guys to comment, and I'll be commenting back, trying to defend my positions. But again, I'm open to my mind changing. This is not ironclad. I'm not gonna say, oh yeah, this is it for sure. If you could argue your position on why someone else is stronger than another person, I'll hear you out. And honestly, my mind could change, because as I said before, between Qin Shi Huang and Apollo, I could see of someone moving them around, and you could say, well, Qin Shi Huang got very lucky against Hades, and Qin Shi Huang would probably lose to Hades again. I mean, that's very possible. I don't think so. And if someone could say, well, maybe Leonidas could beat Buddha because this, and this, I'd be like, okay, let me hear your arguments. And I could be like, oh, I could see why. Or if someone says, no, Shiva could beat Leonidas because this, I'd be like, okay, yeah, I can see that. Again, I am open. I'm open to debates here. If you want to debate me in the comment section, I'll be gladly to engage. And again, we'll be chill debate and have fun with it. Because again, Ragnarok, great series, great characters, great story, and you know the fun. Some of the fun of it, outside the fandom, is just debating how strong characters are. And I really having fun with that. So I'm up for it. Guys, if you have any actually, let me ask you guys a question. Not including Zeus and Adam, who's your top three strongest? Let me know in the comment section. I'd be curious to hear what y'all have to say, alright? So yeah, this is my tier list of strongest to weakest. But of course, I did promise, right? Jack. Jack with London. Interesting. He goes really high. I would say. Okay, yeah, very controversial. But Jack is right behind Poseidon. Honestly, with London Bridge, Jack is just far too schemy, far too intelligent, and far devious. He would just completely just. He's very high tier with London. Let's just say that. Jack would just completely yeah, with all these guys. But again, you might be saying, wait, what about Buddha? Okay, Buddha with his enlightenment abilities is very good, but the only thing is, Buddha really can't see the weapons of his opponents. He really can't. So if Jack uses the knives as curving knives or to throw them with the thread, yeah, Buddha's not gonna be able to see those coming. He'll get hit by them, and Jack would just overwhelm him. And again, Jack would not get close to Apollo. I honestly don't believe that because he'll see Apollo, using the gloves, and Jack would just completely use his blades to just completely overpower and take down. Yeah, Apollo. And Qin Shi Huang is an interesting one. Very interesting. Um, because he'd be able to deflect a lot of the attacks. But I do believe Jack's intelligence would win out the day. And Beelzebub using chaos, very crazy. But who's to say Jack wouldn't, turn a bunch of the buildings or his own clothes into divine weapons to help shield him from chaos attack. So again, yeah, and yeah, the more Jack wounds Beelzebub and the more Beelzebub uses vibration, he's only hurting his own self, because the vibration does hurt Beelzebub if he's already wounded. So yeah, Jack is very high tier. That might be my most controversial one yet, but I'll stick to it. All right. So if I'm wrong, let me know in the comment section. So anyway, that concludes my video. I hope you guys have a great day. Take care. Later.